When you read one of my books, I want you to disappear in this world. I want to grab you in the very first line. I want you to stay with me. I want these people to be more important than the people in your real life. I rarely base a character on somebody that I know. All of my friends, all my male friends, think that the really cool guys who get all the women, that's based on me, isn't it? You know, they never think the man with bad breath who all the women run away from. They never think that's based on them. They always think the cool guy is based on them. Every year I donate a few character names to charity where I will say the top bidder who donates a certain amount of money to a charity, I will name the character in the book your name or whatever name you pick. You don't get to choose what character. You might be a stripper. You might be a drug addict. You might be a dead body. You might be a killer. You might be a hero. But I'll use your name in a book, and people are quite generous with the donations that they make. When I was 17 years old, I worked as a counselor at a summer sleepaway camp. One of these camps that 8 weeks, the boys and girls go away and they sleep in the woods and you have counselors watching them. But when I was 17 years old, I was really too young to handle that kind of responsibility. So again, I asked, what if? What if 4 teenagers, while I was on watch, went into the woods and disappeared? 2 were found dead. 2, including the sister, are never found. 20 years pass. He still hasn't moved on from that. And then our hero gets a clue that tells him everything he thought happened that night is wrong, and maybe, just maybe, his sister is still alive. There's a courtroom thriller, there's a rape case, there's people disappearing in the woods, there's a serial killer, there's KGB from Russia connection, there's a 60s radical, there's suicide. The woods is sort of a metaphor. No one gets out of the woods that night unscathed, and I think it's maybe my most gripping book. The idea for Tell No One came at me from 2 different directions. One, I was watching a really bad romance movie on TV, and it was a typical story we've seen a million times, where the man loses his wife, and he can't go on. And then a beautiful actress walks by, and all of a sudden he's fine. And I said to myself, in those moments I get serious, what about the man who can't go on? What about the man who's really lost his soulmate? Is there a way I can find redemption for him, a way he can be saved? The second part of the idea is I lost my parents at a fairly young age, and I miss them. And I have 4 children now, and I often wish, wouldn't it be great if they could have seen, my parents could have seen their grandchildren, the same way we all wish somebody was still alive. And one day I'm on the computer, and I look at a web camera, and I say, what would I do if I saw my mother and father on this web camera? So I took these 2 ideas, and I put them together. A man and a woman madly in love. The wife is murdered. 8 years pass. He can't get over the death of his wife. He gets an email. He clicks a hyperlink. He sees a webcam, and his dead wife walks by. And that was the idea that started Tell No One. Guillaume Canet, unlike many directors who wanted to make just a big, loud thriller, he understood that really it was a love story. It was about the Francois Cluzet character really still madly in love with his wife after so long, and the chance, after thinking she was dead, that he could get back with her. That's what drives us as an audience, and that's what drove me as a writer. So I was really excited about the way he handled that in the movie. You know, sometimes I give very complicated answers, but the name Myron Bolitar just popped in my head. I don't really know where it came from. But when I created Myron Bolitar, and a lot of writers don't like to admit this, but I wanted him to sort of be me, but with wish fulfillment. I played college basketball, but I wasn't nearly as good as Myron. I'm big, Myron's a little bigger. He's stronger, he's funnier, because he thinks of the line that I wish I had said. What I didn't realize when I created Myron was I gave us a wonderful tension that works well in the books. And that is Myron has what I want in life, and I have what Myron wants in life. Myron's dream is to get married and live in the suburbs and have kids and that sort of life that I have, and I can't let him have that. On the other hand, I lost my parents at a young age. He still has his parents, and he has a really warm, wonderful relationship with them. So I'm jealous of that. And as time has gone on, as Myron Bolitar goes through things that I will never go through, we've ended up, instead of being an alter ego, he's ended up being a friend and someone I know well. We're pretty different now. We didn't start off so different, but now we're pretty different. In the final detail, after the book before it, One False Move, Myron was really left devastated. I wanted to shake up the series. So when the book opens, Myron's in a position he's never been in. I think the first line is something like, you know, Myron is on a gorgeous beach with a beautiful, knee-knockingly fantastic woman, and he's intensely miserable. That's sort of part of the first line. And so I put Esperanza, his best friend, in tremendous jeopardy. So when his partner comes and says, you have to come back now because we have a real problem. This is one of my favorite books in the series, and it's when Myron starts taking a very dark turn. In this book, he's less funny, he's less jokey. He's still a wise guy. He can't help that. And he still uses humor as a defense mechanism. But it's a darker tone than we've seen in past Myron books. This story really twists and turns and takes a lot of strange hits. We get to really meet a lot more of we see a lot more of the interior of the characters. Big Cindy and Esperanza, we get to learn about their relationship. And we also see a case where they don't want Myron's help. Your stereotyping is going to not let you see who the killer is. I just gave you a clue, by the way. But your stereotyping is not going to let you see who the killer is because you're going to think it can't be this person because of your stereotypes. And boom, I'm going to hit you over the head at the end. What's important to me is not that the characters are nice or likable, but that they're real, that they're flesh and blood. Everything revolves around family because that's the ties and bonds that all of us understand and that are, I think, the strongest in the world. If I said to you, will you kill somebody? The answer is no. Well, will you kill somebody to save your child? Now the answer is yes. That's the gray line that in many of the books I play with.